सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So we are discussing on the topic assurances given by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita. So yesterday we were discussing that in all these assurances which Bhagavan gives in the Gita, there is one condition. And what is that condition? Bhagavan says, Arjuna, surrender unto me. If you surrender unto me, I will help you in crossing over all difficulties. If you surrender unto me, peace of mind will be yours. If you surrender unto me, I will free you from the shackles of birth and death. If you surrender unto me, you will become one with me. So thus, if you surrender unto me, all the doors of auspiciousness will be thrown open to you. So yesterday we were seeing why Bhagavan insists upon this surrender of ego. Surrender of our ego is essential because in our life this ego is the most inauspicious thing. So therefore surrender of ego is the most auspicious thing that which we can do in our life. So we saw yesterday why ego is the most inauspicious. It is because of this ego that throughout our life we are disturbed. It is because of this ego that we become a slave of anger, passion, etc. It is this ego which has bound us to this world of imperfection. So therefore, the one best thing we can do is to surrender our ego. And Bhagavan says, once you surrender, Arjuna, I will give you everything. What all Bhagavan can give us? Bhagavan can literally give us everything. So there is a very famous, very beautiful verse in Mukundamala where Kulsekar Alwar says, vātsalya abhayam samayat ārtārti nirvāpanāt audaryāt aghashoṣanāt aganita shreyah padav prapanāt. सेव्यश्रीपतिरेक एव सततं सन्त्यत्र षट्साक्षिणः प्रह्लादश्च विभीषणश्च करिराट् पाञ्चाल्यहल्या ध्रुवः. Kulsekara in that Mukundamala says, what is it that Bhagavan cannot give us? Bhagavan can give us everything, and in this regard we have 6 witnesses who have experienced it in their own life, who have directly experienced it. There are 6 witnesses. Who are they? Prahalāda, Vibhiṣaṇa, Gajendra, Panchali, Ahilya and Dhruva. So there is nothing in this world which Bhagavan cannot give us. What did Prahalāda receive? Vātsalya. He received the love of Bhagavan, parental love of Bhagavan. It is something which he did not get from his father. Narasimha Bhagavan killed Hiranyakashipu, but at the same time he gave that love, that vātsalya, parental love to Prahalāda. What did Vibhiṣaṇa get? Abhayam samaya. Bhagavan made him fearless. Bhagavan embraced him when Vibhiṣaṇa surrendered unto Bhagavan. Bhagavan rose from his seat, ran to him, embraced him and made him sit next to him and made him the king of Lanka. Bhagavan made him fearless. Abhayam samaya. Artarti nirvapanat. What did Gajendra get? He was afflicted. The crocodile was there. What do you call? Biting his foot. The elephant was not able to come out of that lake. And there was so much of pain and suffering which the elephant had to undergo, Gajendra had to undergo. In the beginning he was struggling, but finally when he understood that he will not be able to come out of this clutches of this crocodile, he surrenders unto Bhagavan. And what did Bhagavan do? The moment he surrendered, Bhagavan came in his Garuda Vahana and killed that crocodile and relieved Gajendra from the suffering, the physical suffering. So, do you have physical sufferings, ailments, diseases, etc.? Bhagavan is the right person to remove everything. And then, Audaryat, Bhagavan went out of the way to protect Draupadi. So, this is the event which all of us know. In that evil assembly, when this Dushasana was trying to disrobe Draupadi, Bhagavan went out of the way, breaking all his laws of nature. It is said Bhagavan took an avatar there, and the name of that avatar is Vastravatar. And Bhagavan protected Draupadi. So this is the greatness of Bhagavan. Bhagavan breaks even the laws of nature in order to protect his devotees. Audaryat. Even the other incident also is famous. When Dhruva Rishi came along with 10,000 disciples for lunch bhiksha, Draupadi had already had her food from that Akshaya Patra. So when Durvasa came and Draupadi had already had her food, and the rule, the blessing she had got was once she takes food from that Akshaya Patra, after that, that vessel will not be able to produce more food. And Durvasa came exactly after her taking food. So she was in trouble. How is he going to feed all these disciples of Durvasa Rishi? So she prayed intensely, and then Bhagavan came. Bhagavan ate one piece of leaf which was stuck in that vessel, and it is said all beings in the whole world, their stomach became full. and Durvasa Rishi had to run from there. So Bhagavan goes out of the way in order to protect his devotees. And then Audaryad Aghashoshanad, whatever sins we have committed, by taking the name of the Lord, by surrendering unto Him, we are able to free ourselves from all sins. All sins can be washed away by the grace of the Lord. Who is the Sakshi for it? Ahilya. And then Aganita Shreyaf Padav Prapanat. Whatever desires you have, it can be fulfilled. Even if it be out of the world desires. For example, Dhruva. Dhruva said, Bhagavan, I want to rule such a world which has never been ruled by anyone in the past or never will be ruled in the future also. A strange condition. Bhagavan said, Tathastu. And thus, Dhruva Loka was created. So therefore, the point is this, Bhagavan is capable of fulfilling all our desires, whatever it may be. The only condition is, may we surrender unto His lotus feet. And in the same Mukundamala, Kulsekar Alwar grieves. What a tragedy that there is such a Bhagavan who is capable of giving us everything. He is ready to give Himself also to us, but alas, what a tragedy, we never surrender unto Him. We never seek Him. So that famous verse, it goes like this. Nathenaf purushottame trijagatam ekadhipe cetasa sevye swasya padasya datari sure narayane tishtati yam kanchit purushadhamam katipaya grameshamalparthadam sevayai mrigayamahe naramaho mudhavarakavayam. Kulsekara said, what a wretched fools we are. On one side is this Bhagavan, Nathe, the Lord, Purushottame, Trijagatam, Ekadhipe, the Lord of the three worlds. And what is His nature? Cetasa sevye swasya padasya datari, the one who is ready to give Himself to His devotees. On one side, such a great Lord is there, Narayana is there, Bhagavan is there, ever ready to bless His devotees, ever ready to give everything. And what do we do? Yam kanchit purushadhamam, some, what you call, corrupt, characterless, some influential person, some leader, some politician who is the head of a village. He has little power and he can give us also something. What do we do? Sevayai mrigayamahe naramaho. We crave to serve such a useless, characterless person in order to get something from him. Such wretched fools we are. On one side is this Bhagavan ready to give us everything, we don't want to surrender unto Him. And on the other side is this stupid, useless fellow with little influence, little power, and we crave to serve him. Such wretched fools we are. So says Kulsekara. The whole point is this, may we surrender unto Bhagavan, who is capable of blessing us with everything. So what happens when we surrender unto Bhagavan? So yesterday we were seeing this. When we surrender unto Bhagavan, we become an instrument in doing Bhagavan's work. To the extent we empty ourselves, to that extent Bhagavan enters into us and gets His work done. So on one side we get peace of mind, on the other side His work is done. So there is blessedness everywhere. And the best example for this is our own dear Hanumanji. In Tulsi Ramayana, there's a beautiful comparison. When Hanumanji in search of Sita was flying across the ocean, in Tulsi Ramayana, Tulsidaji says, Hanumanji was flying like the infallible arrow of Bhagavan. The unfailing arrow of Bhagavan. Hanumanji is compared with the arrow of Bhagavan. Why is Hanumanji compared with the arrow of Bhagavan? Now if you see an arrow is chosen by its shooter. The direction of arrow is chosen by the shooter. It is the shooter which decides the target. It is the shooter which decides the speed of the arrow, the direction. It is the shooter who decides even which arrow to choose. So everything is chosen by the shooter. And finally what we see, the arrow becoming one with the target. It is the arrow which we see, but in the picture we nowhere see the shooter. So beautiful comparison. Hanumanji is compared with the arrow of Bhagavan. The shooter is not seen, only the arrow is seen. The honor is not seen, only the instrument is seen. Another speciality of Bhagavan's arrow is that the arrow does its job and then comes back and falls back into Bhagavan's quiver. This is a unique property of Bhagavan's arrow. Hanumanji also, in this regard, falls into the same category. Hanumanji goes to Lanka, gets his task accomplished, and successfully returns and comes back and falls at the feet of Bhagavan. So in this regard also, Hanumanji can be rightly compared with Bhagavan's arrow. Now there is a beautiful episode, there is beautiful incident narrated in Tulsi Ramayana, a beautiful episode. So Hanumanji comes back, successful. Everybody is happy, everybody is jubilant that Hanumanji could locate Sita, that Hanumanji could bring the message back from Sita Mata. Everybody is happy. Hanumanji goes to Bhagavan, prostrates unto him. Jambavan narrates what all Hanumanji has done in Lanka. And when Bhagavan listens to whatever Hanumanji has done, Bhagavan was so happy. He started praising Hanumanji. So he said there, Bhagavan says, Hanuman, the amount of work which you have done, it is unbelievable. So much you have served me. I am so much indebted to you because of your service that I am not even able to stand in front of you. I am not even able to look into your eyes. And in this way, Bhagavan was going on praising Hanuman. And when Hanumanji heard this, he just falls at the feet of Bhagavan and says, Bhagavan, Trahimam, Pahimam, protect me, save me. Don't praise me like this. I don't deserve this praise. Bhagavan, I very clearly know that I did nothing. Whatever was done, it was done by you through me. I very clearly know this. I have experienced this. When problems and challenges were there, I could very clearly see you guiding me from within, instilling in me courage and confidence. I could very clearly see how you were guiding me from within. From within, you were guiding me, and in the outer world, you were clearing all obstacles one after the other, so that I could easily have a cakewalk through them. Hanumanji says. So therefore, Bhagwan, inside also you were guiding me, outside also you were clearing all the obstacles. So therefore, Bhagwan, whatever has happened only by your grace, only by your blessings. I am only an instrument. I am a mere monkey who knows only one thing, jumping from one branch to the other. This is the only thing which we monkeys know. So if such a great task has been accomplished, Bhagwan, I am not the one to be praised. It is only because of your grace. So please don't praise me. See the greatness of Hanuman. Even when Bhagwan is praising Hanuman, Hanumanji is not affected by that praise at all. His pride doesn't swell. This is the greatness of Hanumanji. If suppose instead of Hanumanji, we were there, a little bit of praise, and then our ego would have bloated, isn't it? Little things we do, and how easily we crave, how easily we get affected by the praises of others. This is the difference. Hanumanji was not affected even when Bhagwan himself was praising him. If Bhagwan were to praise us, what we would have said? Bhagwan himself is praising, so definitely he must be right. So definitely I deserve the credit for praise. This is how we would have thought. But Hanumanji is not like that. When Bhagwan is praising, Hanumanji falls at the feet of Bhagwan. And it is said there in Tulsi Ramayana, Hanumanji doesn't get up. He holds on to Bhagwan's feet and says, Bhagwan, please don't do this. Please don't praise me like this. Bhagwan is trying to lift Hanumanji. Hanumanji doesn't get up. He said, first stop praising me. And finally Bhagwan said, okay then, I don't praise you. Hanuman, tell me what is it that I can give you? Then Hanumanji says, Bhagwan, there is only one thing which I ask from you. May I have unflinching devotion at your lotus feet. Bhagwan, may I never have this pride in me. May I ever be at your lotus feet. May I ever have single-pointed devotion at your lotus feet. This is all what I ask from you. Bhagwan said, Tathastu. And then Bhagwan lifts Hanumanji, hugs him. That picture of Bhagwan hugging Hanumanji is a very famous picture. Bhagwan was so happy with Hanuman, so happy. In fact, Bhagwan was testing Hanumanji by praising him. And Hanumanji successfully passed the test by not getting affected by his praise. So this is a beautiful episode of Hanumanji, and this is what we have also to learn. To the extent we empty ourselves, to that extent we become an effective instrument in the hands of the Lord. Even today we see how great Mahatmas, they are able to set foundation for various organizations, the famous spiritual organizations, whether it is Ramakrishna Mission or whether it is Chinmaya Mission or whether it is Ramana Ashramam or Aurobindo Ashramam or ISKCON or Art of Living. In all these organizations you will find somebody, a great devotee, emptied himself or herself, and Bhagavan then worked through them, and a huge worldwide organization is established. And you will find that even when the founder of the organization passes away, even then the organization continues. How is the organization continuing? Organization is continuing because there are so many sevaks and sevikas and volunteers who have emptied themselves and through whom Bhagavan does his service. So this even today we find. So this is the one thing which we have to do. Let us empty ourselves. And how do we empty ourselves? By becoming egoless, by ever surrendering unto the lotus feet of Bhagavan. This is the best thing we can do for ourselves. Now, even from a very worldly standpoint also, from a very transactional standpoint, not from a spiritual standpoint, from a very worldly standpoint also, we will find that to the extent we can bow down, to the extent we can empty ourselves, to the extent we can become humble, to the extent we can minimize our ego, to that extent we will find very many problems in our life, they just disappear. Great problems can be solved. Very many problems, they just disappear to the extent we become small. There's a beautiful incident in the life of Madan Mohan Malavya. Who is he? He was the founder of Banaras Hindu University, a very prominent figure of his times, Madan Mohan Malavya. He was the president of Indian National Congress, a very prominent figure of those times, and a freedom fighter also, very famous freedom fighter. So, there's a very nice story. Some of the students who were studying in Banaras Hindu University, some mischievous students, they did some mischief and damaged a boat of a boatman. This boatman used to ferry people across Ganga, and this boat was damaged. And this boatman was boiling with anger. He came to the residence of Malavyaji and started shouting at the top of his voice, "What kind of students you are having in your university? What kind of education are you giving them? They are all characterless fellows." And this way he was shouting. Malavyaji heard this. He came out and he inquired what happened. So the people there told what had happened. And when Malavyaji came to know what had happened, he sincerely apologizes to this person, seeks his forgiveness. And the way he spoke, the way Malavyaji spoke, with so much of tenderness, with so much of sweetness, with so much of concern, with so much of pain in the suffering of that boatman, Malavyaji said, "Sir, on behalf of all those students, I seek forgiveness from you. It is indeed a tragical thing which has happened. I am really pained by it. Please forgive us. Whatever the loss, whatever the damage you have incurred, we will compensate for it. Rather, we will compensate even little more because the whole day you have lost business. Don't grieve. Everything we will take care. Everything will be all right. Please forgive us for all the mistakes that we have done." And saying this, and the words were filled with so much of feelings. And saying this, Malavyaji went and prostrated to that boatman. The boatman was stunned because Malavyaji was such a great figure, prominent figure, and such a great person. Very many Indian national leaders used to come to meet Malavyaji. And it was this very same boatman who used to ferry them also across Ganga. And here is such a great man, such a prominent figure in India. Here is such a great man coming and prostrating. That boatman said, "Sir, please don't do this. Aisa mat kijiye." And it is said not only that the anger of this boatman melted, like how the ice melts in boiling water, how quickly the ice melts in boiling water. In the same way, all the anger, that bitterness, that agitation, everything vanished. Not only that, this boatman started seeking forgiveness from Malavyaji. "Sir, please forgive me for using foul language against such a divine person like you. Please forgive me." This boatman started falling at the feet of Malavyaji. See the wonder. How the situation was and how the situation became the moment Malavyaji, in all egolessness, approached the problem. This is something which we have to learn. Very many problems in our life can be solved very easily provided we keep our ego away from us. Very many problems can be solved. The reverse is also true. Very many problems can be created unnecessarily by our own ego. That is also true. How many times a simple chat, a simple discussion becomes an argument? What is the difference between a discussion and an argument? In discussion, you discuss in order to know. Knowledge is the most important. You are discussing to know. And what happens in argument? In argument, you argue to win. You don't argue to know, you argue to win. As somebody has nicely said, in argument there is more heat than light. In discussion there is more light, whereas in argument there is more heat. And what is the cause of this argument? There is only one cause: I want to win. Even when I know that I am wrong, I will not admit. Because when I admit, my ego is hurt. How many times an ordinary discussion has escalated into an argument? Who is the villain here? Villain is our own ego. Isn't it? So to the extent we keep this ego away, to that extent we are blessed. Even from a very worldly standpoint also it is true. We all must have experienced when we board a bus, sometimes we unknowingly stamp on somebody's foot. And the moment you stamp, the other person, we can very clearly see from his facial expression how that ego, that anger is building up its momentum. He is about to say. And you can even guess what is he going to say. Can't you see? Are you blind? This is what he is going to say. You can very clearly see. But the moment you realize that you have stamped on the foot of that person, and then when you touch him and bow down to him, because this is the culture which we are trained from our very childhood. Whenever we touch anyone with our foot, automatically our hand goes, we touch that person and bow down to him, because we are trained to see divinity in everyone. That is the culture in which Indians are brought up. Bhagavan is present in the heart of all, so therefore we are not supposed to touch anyone with our foot. So automatically we tend to touch. And then you see the expression of that person. The moment we touch and bow down to that person, you will find how, just like mist getting cleared in the presence of sun, how that anger, everything just disappears, and that person says, it's okay, everything is fine. Even in such simple day-to-day incidences, we find how when we become humble, when we become egoless, all the problems just dissolve. That is why in Bhajagovindam, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Vidhi vyadhi abhimanagrastam lokam shokahatam chasamastam. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, the whole world is filled with sorrow only. Two types of sorrow. One is physical sorrow, the other is mental sorrow. Physical sorrow, he calls it vyadhi. Mental sorrow, the name is actually adhi, but he calls it abhimana. Vidhi vyadhi, physical sorrow, abhimanagrastam. Instead of mental sorrows, he used one term, that is abhimana. Meaning what? All the agitations of the mind, all the miseries of the mind, the disturbances of the mind is only because of one thing, that is abhimana. One term. If you can give up this abhimana, all the mental disturbances can be minimized. Vidhi vyadhi abhimanagrastam. If you see the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there Bhagavan lists down all the values, all the noble values. How does he start? What is the first value? Amanitvam avadhambitvam ahimsa kshanti rajyavam. So the first one is amanitvam. What is amanitvam? Absence of manitvam. What is manitvam? Ego. So the first value itself Bhagavan takes is egolessness. So see how much Bhagavan himself is glorifying this virtue. Amanitvam. There is a beautiful incident in the life of Swami Shivanji Maharaj also. This incident is narrated by Pujya Swami Chidanji Maharaj, who was the former president of Divine Life Society. So there was once a time when they had organized the World Parliament of Religions. So all the delegates from various religions, they had all gathered. It was a big gathering. It happened in Divine Life Society. I think it happened in Rishikesh. So all the delegates were seated there. And Swami Shivanji Maharaj also was there. He was on the stage with so many other delegates. And then one sannyasi, he came and started speaking. And he started scolding Shivanji Maharaj. The language was in Sanskrit. He started saying, all these Vedas, the Upanishads, etc. should be taught, should be spoken only in Sanskrit. Sanskrit is the only Deva Bhasha. English is a Mlecha Bhasha. And he started criticizing Shivanji Maharaj for giving classes in English, for speaking, in English, for giving spiritual classes in English. He started criticizing left and right Swami Shivanji Maharaj. The whole assembly was so disturbed because everybody had such great regard and respect for Swami Shivanji Maharaj. And here is a sannyasi who is criticizing him left and right. He was glorifying Sanskrit, but at the same time he was criticizing Swamiji. Intense criticism. Very many were disturbed. Many of the disciples of Swami Shivanji Maharaj, they just wanted to switch off the audio system. They just wanted to go and shout at him, send him out. But nobody had the courage because Swami Shivanji Maharaj was there. And Shivanji Maharaj was listening to his own criticism silently, without uttering a word, without not even a wrinkle on his face. He was silently listening. And this sannyasi shouted, and after having spoken whatever he had to speak, he just came back and sat down as though he had achieved a great thing. Immediately Swami Shivanji Maharaj got up, occupied the mic, because he knew the whole assembly has been disturbed. So he did not want to create further agitation. He went, took the mic, and he profusely thanked this sannyasi, saying, Swamiji, what you said is absolutely right. We indeed value your suggestions. Your thoughts on this subject is indeed thought-provoking. Whatever you have said is right indeed. Yes, Sanskrit is indeed a Deva Bhasha. It is a language which we have to revere, etc., etc., etc. And Swami Shivanji Maharaj started praising this Swamiji. This Swamiji was stunned. He did not expect this. It was something like a boxer is coming to hit you and you just give way. He never expected this. And thus, Swamiji brought back the whole situation under control. The whole disturbance, the disturbed assembly was taken back to its peaceful state. Everybody really appreciated Swami Shivanji Maharaj, that attitude of egoless. Even when in the open assembly he was criticized and humiliated, he never uttered any bitter word. Instead, he remained sweet. People went away from that assembly praising Swami Shivanji Maharaj of his greatness, exhibiting humility even under such tempting conditions. So what I am trying to say here is how much this attitude of egolessness can bless us. There is a very interesting incident which somebody had shared with me. So this happened in the Indian Army. So this person is a soldier in the Indian Army. He said there was once a situation where they wanted a team, a boxing team, because there was some championship held and they wanted a team, the army team, to participate in it. So they asked the youngsters, how many of you wanted to participate in this boxing competition? How many of you would like to participate, to be a part of this boxing team? Unfortunately, to their utter disappointment, no youngster raised his hand. And these organizers, they badly wanted a team from the army. But nobody was interested. Nobody was interested because it is such a horrible game. You hit on the face of others and there is blood oozing from the nose, from the mouth, so many cuts and wounds. It is such a cruel game. This is my personal opinion. So no youngster raised his hand. And these people were disappointed, the higher officers. What is this? Our regiment, we don't have a team. It's a shame to us. We must have youngsters. So therefore, they employed one strategy. What did they do? All the youngsters were made to stand in a line and one boxer was called. And this boxer started hitting each youngster. He started punching them one by one. And out of these youngsters, some of them, they retaliated. They said, how dare you hit me? You should also get tit for tat. And what did they do? All those youngsters who retaliated, they caught hold of them. And they said, you are the right people fit for this game. All those other youngsters who received the blow and kept quiet, they were left. And those youngsters who retaliated, they were caught and they were selected for this boxing competition. How we get trapped. What all tragedies which this ego brings to us. When we start analyzing this, we come to know how dangerous is this ego. Right. Now moving on to the next topic. One may have this question, Swamiji, do you mean to say that we should bow down everywhere? That we should not fight against injustice in life? You are praising so much about this virtue called bowing down, bowing down, bowing down. Do you mean to say that we should not fight injustice in life? We should just look at it and be passive? Is this what you are trying to say? We say, no. Scriptures never ask you to tolerate injustice. No. But there is a way of handling injustice also. There is a way to fight injustice also. Yes, we have to fight injustice. There is nothing wrong in it. But there is a way. What is the way? The way is fight injustice bowing down. With a surrendered attitude, fight injustice. Now, what do you mean fight injustice bowing down? The best example is our Yudhishthira. I am sure you must be knowing this story. The two armies, the Pandava and the Kaurava armies, they had already come. They have gathered in that field of Kurukshetra. Both of them are ready to fight. Both the armies are ready. It is at that time something unbelievable happens. And what is that? Yudhishthira, keeping his bow, arrow, everything down, he walks straight across towards Kaurava forces. Both the armies were stunned. What is this Yudhishthira going to do? He is supposed to be the king of the Pandava army, the leader. And what is he doing? He is walking straight across and he has no weapons. Without any weapon, without any, defense, he just walks across. And what does he do? He goes straight to Bhishma Pitamaha and falls at his feet. He seeks his blessings. Bhishma said, Vijayi Bhava. Then he goes to Dronacharya, bows down to his feet. Dronacharya also said, Vijayi Bhava. Then he goes to Kripacharya, bows down to his feet. Kripacharya had no choice, said Vijayi Bhava. And it is said in Mahabharata, all the three said, Yudhishthira, if we had not done this, we would have destroyed your enemies. We would have destroyed your armies. We would have killed all of you. That this one act of yours, it has changed our mind. Now see this. We have to fight injustice, but bowing down, we have to fight. Bhagavan Krishna is giving the teaching to Arjuna, but after teaching, what happens? The fight happens. Who said you should not fight against injustice? What Bhagavad Gita says is, you must fight against injustice, no doubt, but fight injustice without revenge, without bitterness, without anger, without all these negative emotions. Fight the injustice. You have all the right. The best example of modern times is Mahatma Gandhi. How did he fight injustice against Britishers? No anger, no revenge, nothing, but he fought. Interestingly, he fought with a weapon called non-violence. It was one of the greatest wonders of the world. Whenever we say fight, always this fight is associated with violence. And here is a person who redefined the term fight. He fought with a weapon called non-violence. It is something very strange. How can we fight with non-violence? It is possible. Mahatma Gandhi showed it to us that it is the most powerful weapon. Very many of the Britishers became a fan of Mahatma Gandhi. They were sympathetic towards Mahatma Gandhi. They started criticizing their own government, their own people, Britishers. This is the power. Very many times yuddha is called a dharma yuddha. When do we say yuddha as dharma yuddha? When the war is fought for justice, when the war is fought for a noble cause, then even the war, even the killing becomes just, becomes righteous. So this we have to understand. So when we say bowing down doesn't mean we should not fight against injustice. No. We have all the right to fight against injustice, but we have to see that the negative aspects, that also has to be taken care. Normally we fight with revenge, with hatred, with all kinds of bitterness. Bhagavad Gita says that attitude has to be changed. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasya naivam papam avapsyasi. This is what Bhagavad Gita says. Arjuna, you will not incur any sin provided you fight with the right attitude. What is the right attitude? Whatever be the situation, whether sukha or dukkha, whatever be the result, whether profit or loss, victory or defeat, whatever be the result, without bothering about the result, when you perform your duty because you are supposed to do it, with this right framework of mind, when you perform your duties, even if it be fighting the war, Arjuna, you will not incur any sin. Yes. So therefore, we have all the right to fight injustice, but we have to do it by bowing down to righteousness, bowing down to justice, bowing down to noble people, and thus getting their blessings. We must fight. Right. So that topic is also over. Now comes the next topic. What is the next topic? The next topic is egolessness is the most auspicious thing that we have established, that we have discussed till now. Now, what is the responsibility of the Lord, who is the well-wisher of his devotees? What should be the responsibility of the Lord? The Lord who knows that egolessness is the most auspicious thing, the Lord who is the well-wisher of his devotees, it becomes a responsibility of the Lord to see to it that his devotees practice egolessness. It becomes a responsibility of the Lord to see that his devotees become egoless, because Bhagavan is the well-wisher of his devotees. Bhagavan knows that it is the ego which is the greatest problem. So isn't it the responsibility of the Lord to see that his devotees become egoless? Yes. Now the question is, how does Bhagavan make his devotees egoless? When Bhagavan sees that his devotees have this ego in their heart, how does Bhagavan remove it? So this is the topic which we are going to discuss next. Since it is a big topic and since we need some time, so therefore let us keep this topic for tomorrow. The topic is how Bhagavan trains his devotees to be egoless. This topic we will see tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.